have been impacting the industry for 10 years and have supported about 2,500 professionals in that time space. Register with New Frontiers Learning today. New Frontiers Learning is the #1 tuition center for the CFA exams in Nigeria. Our founders went through the industry for 10 years with little or no support of any kind. However, they vowed to turn into reality the dream of every CFA candidate earning the CFA charter, irrespective of their backgrounds, finance and non-finance alike. It is this commitment to support our candidates that influences our engagement of a world-class faculty, partnerships, scholarships, and discount offers, our online learning management system, and so much more. Our clients' outstanding results across all levels of the exams every year attest to the quality of our top-notch physical and online program in the last 10 years. That's right, we have been impacting the industry for 10 years and have supported about 2,500 professionals in that time space. Register with New Frontiers Learning today.
Okay, good evening everyone and welcome to New Frontiers Learning Center. It's our impact series tonight. Let's talk CFA Level 3. My name is Ayo Akinrotimi and I'll be your host this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. Just before we commence, I'd like to confirm that you can hear, that I'm both audible and visible. So if you could please type yes in the chat, just so I can be sure before we move on tonight. Thank you. Okay, any responses? So, okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Phillips. Thank you, Chibuzo. Thank you. Okay, so we are good. So once again, you're welcome, and we are very much excited to have you tonight. Join us for this program. The main reason why we're doing this is that we understand that many times when we talk about the CFA exams, most times we just talk about the CFA exam and the CFA charter. But then we, at New Frontiers, we began to figure it out and see that there are, when it comes to writing the CFA exams, particularly for a tuition house like New Frontiers Learning Center that has helped about 3,000 people in the course of his life, we found out that there are different strategies. The strategy for level 1 is different from that of level 2 and different from that at level 3. And that's why we are putting this together, tailored towards the level 3 exam. And so even though we are just starting, I think if you know someone who would benefit a lot from the strategies and tips that will be shared tonight, I think you can just drop them a message and tell them that we're about to start. Because it's going to be very eye-opening. We had the one for level 2 last week, and the views have been going up every single day on YouTube, and the same with level 1 as well. This one as well will be uploaded 24 hours after this meeting, just in case anybody misses it or you want to check it. So, but once again, thank you very much for joining us tonight, and we are very excited to be doing this with you on this Friday evening. And tonight we are going to be having, we have two special guests rather. Mr. Yokunle Ojo, who is a member of faculty at level 3 for New Frontiers Learning Center, and Victoria Hayamadu, who also has just passed our level 3 exams recently and is now a charter holder. You'll be hearing from them their experiences and the practical tips and strategies that they're going to be sharing tonight. I hope you as ready as I am tonight, because it's going to be another wonderful experience. So thank you once again for joining us. The agenda tonight is quite simple. I will start with an introduction of our guests. Then we go straight into the interview, which is the reason why we are here. Then there will be a very brief presentation called CFA and You, and questions and answers from the audience. Then we'll wrap this up. We hope that this will take us about 90 minutes. We look forward to a very, very engaging time. So once again, you are very much welcome, and let's just get started. So I'd like to start by introducing our first speaker, Mr. Yokunle Ojo. He is a director and corporate sales head for Citibank Nigeria. He has over 14 years experience in Citibank, and was appointed into his current role in January 2013. Ayokunle is responsible for the markets team that is innovating and creating solutions that add value to our corporate clients. This involves selling foreign exchange, fixed income, and structured solutions to corporate clients in Nigeria. Prior to his appointment, he worked as a salesperson, selling an array of products to corporate and institutional clients. He has been responsible for landmark structured solution deals in Citibank, Nigeria. Before his sales and structuring career, he worked as a risk treasury dealer and was part of the CT Management Associate Program. Ayokunle is a CFA charter holder. He obtained a bachelor's degree in accounting and qualified as a chartered accountant. He enjoys photography and spends considerable time teaching young adults in Lagos with a focus on investment and financial analysis. Mr. Ayokunle Ojo, you are welcome.
Thank you. Happy and glad to be here.
Thank you very much, sir. So I know I've introduced you and I've read a bit of your profile, but you could as well say one or two things about yourself before.
Okay, so what do you want? Yes, just to say good evening to everyone. Okay. Glad to be here. Yes, I've been teaching at New Frontiers for the last 10 years. And maybe I've taught level 3 for 6 or 7 of those years, I think. So yes, I do have some CFA experience, and I'll be happy to share the little that I know this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We're excited to have you tonight. And our next speaker will be Victoria. Victoria Enoch Ayamadu is a senior analyst in the syndications unit at AFC, Africa Finance Corporation, where she helps mobilize funding for third-party sources and successfully distributes the firm's assets through the primary or secondary market. She graduated with first-class honors in economics from Covenant University, and she's a CFA charter holder. Victoria is deeply passionate about the development of young people in Nigeria and is a founding member of Hiven Foundation, a foundation focused on providing scholarships to underprivileged children in Nigeria. In addition, she is interested in driving the efforts to support women in navigating career progress and business. She is the co-lead of the coaching pillar at Visibility, a platform which shines the spotlight on successful Black women globally. In her spare time, she enjoys traveling, reading books, and public speaking. Victoria, you're welcome.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. Very happy to be here.
Thank you.
I don't know, in terms of saying anything, I just wrote my CFA exam in November last year. So it's good to be on the other side.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Victoria. Yeah. So once again, you're welcome. And at this point, I'd like to say that we're diving straight into the interviews. But as it is, if you have, to our audience now, please, if you have any questions or any comments, you can begin to drop them, even though I believe that it's always best to take this at the end of the presentation, because typically what happens is that the questions we already have will have been attended to during the course of the presentation. But please, again, feel free to drop a message or anything the moment you feel like. Thank you once again for joining us tonight. So let's just get straight into it tonight. So I already, asked to meet you and a bit about your background. So let me just get into it tonight. So let me start with Victoria and say, why did you opt for a career in finance? And the truth is, the reason why we're asking this question is this. When it comes to taking an exam like the CFA exam, we have found out that you must have a big reason why. And that's because along the way, it's possible for you to give up. It's possible for you to give in. It's possible for you to throw in the towel and say, no, no more, no more. And the only thing that will keep pushing you, or that will serve as a good reminder for why you started in the first place, is the big why. The reason why you started in the first place. So, and that's why I believe this question is not out of place, even while talking with the level 3 candidate. Oh, sorry, while speaking to level 3 candidates rather. So, if you would help us, Victoria, why did you opt for a career in finance, please?
Sure. I have a very funny story, but let me just keep it short and sweet. So I obviously in primary school, I wanted to do banking and finance primarily because one of the teachers then, she used to say she was married to the richest man in the whole wide world, and her husband was in the commercial bank. So I was like, okay, that's where the money is. Let me go there. So it was very like, it didn't have any basis, obviously. I just felt like if that's where money is, then let me go there. But obviously, like when I went into secondary school, I was quite good in business studies. So everyone just kept pushing me to commercial class all the while. So, and good with numbers as well, right? So when it was now time to decide what to study in uni, right? It was like a dilemma. Should I do economics? Should I do accounting? So in the end, everyone just seemed to say, oh, economics makes you more broad, like gives you a more versatile exposure, and you can branch into anything you want afterwards. So I went for economics, right? And then in my third year, 2018, basically, we now came in contact with CFA Research Challenge, because all the while I thought I would be an accountant. I even started doing ATS, accounting technician scheme. So I thought, like for my economics, I'll actually go into accounting and just continue my accounting life. But we came into CFA Research Challenge. I remember that was the first time they were doing it in universities ever in Nigeria. And I was part of the team for Covenant University. And I was just so intrigued by the idea, like of just doing research, combining numbers, even valuation, because I was part of the valuation, people that did the valuation and financial analysis section, because I was good with numbers. So all that whole process just made me feel like, oh, I really like this thing. And this is actually not boring. Like it's something I can do. Because something I already started having the thought that accounting was quite monotonous. When you kept doing like debits and credits, I was like, oh, this is all they do here. So after a while, I was like, okay, this finance is a bit more interesting. So when we did the competition, we won the competition. I was like, okay, it looks like this thing is giving me good progress. So that's how I fell into finance, basically. And from then particularly now I'm in development finance. So let me tell you the story of development finance in particular. Okay. So I've always wanted to do development economics. I also wanted to do development economics because I liked the idea of it. So when during that whole CFA Research Challenge, we came in contact with Banji. Banji then tells us about what AFC is about. I'm like, okay, they do development finance. So you can actually merge the finance I like with the development that I like. So it just sounded like a perfect fit for me. So yeah, that's my story about how I fell into finance.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a beautiful one. And one thing I keep hearing is how you met somebody, or how everyone says you'll be good for commercial. Everyone says go for economics. It seems you had very good support system, and beautiful. Thank you very much. So, boss, like I will call you. So, Mr. Akule, you would.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, I think Victoria has a more interesting story. So I actually remember being in secondary school and wanting to go to commercial class, and everybody kind of advised me against it. So I agreed with my dad that, okay, wherever the school sent me, I would go there. So they sent me to the science class. So I was a science student. I actually didn't even write economics in my WAEC because in my school you had to choose between further mathematics and economics. You can't write both. So I finished secondary school. I was going to study engineering. So I think the JAMB form, I think I actually started feeling engineering into it. Then I got a bit scared that I wasn't going to pass physics. And I wanted to go to university by all means. I didn't have there was no room to stay back. So I'd written a GC in my SS2, before when I was in SS2 in secondary school. And I sort of cleared economics, geography, and some of the subjects. I just sort of felt, the fastest way to get into university is to just go do this course that I'm sure I would have enough enough credits, to go through to university, because I didn't want to have to stay back at home because I didn't pass physics. So I just sort of chose accounting, to study accounting. My dad's an accountant though, so there must have been some subtle influence there that wasn't obvious to me. But yes, I put in to study accounting. Yeah, and I ended up having a distinction in physics, by the way. But
yes, could you take the chances now?
So that's how I studied accounting. And of course, the moment I said I wanted to study accounting, my dad was like, "Oh, you want to study accounting? Okay." We just started buying all the accounting books and started teaching me. So I started writing ICANN right there, even before getting into university, actually. So by the time I finished university, I was already a chartered accountant, before graduating, actually. So yeah, that's the accounting story. But I didn't really want to practice accounting, so I started working in the bank. So, and I've been working in the banking industry like forever. Yeah, and somewhere along that process, I got to know about CFA from colleagues in the bank. Wrote CFA, yeah, and the rest is history. That's how I got into finance. Yeah, so it's sort of by chance, but I liked it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Quite fulfilling and an interesting one there. Thank you very much for sharing with us. So let's start. Drawing closer home. What was level 3 like for you? And I know you're a veteran, Sir Okule, but again,
yes.
What were your biggest memories, as it were?
Well, so I have an interesting journey writing CFA exam. So, like I said, I started out. I had colleagues, that were working together in the same room, and most people might know them, Michael Banji. So we were all working for the same firm, and we're all literally sitting in the same room. But they wrote CFA ahead of me, and every time they're like studying hard, so I said to them that you guys must really, why are you studying so hard for an exam? It's just an exam. That I thought they were smart, so why are they putting in so much effort? So all their years writing CFA, I was almost always teasing them, and all of that. Then I decided to write CFA, and I kind of realized that I can't really afford to fail this exam. Having spent the last 3 years harassing people about how they're smart, and all of that. So I think my level 1, I was like super serious. Because I just knew that I really can't afford to fail this exam. So I came out of the level 1 exam feeling like, I put in too much effort that, I could have. So I think I'm like naturally a bit laid back. So I felt, I put in too much, that I really could have passed the exam, with less effort. At least that's how I felt. So I then wrote level 2, and I took things a bit easy. And level 2 was one of those exams that, I came out of the exam hall and I wasn't really confident about whether I was going to pass or not, And of course, I knew what the problem was. I was overconfident, so to say. I passed level 2. As well. So I just kind of went back into level 3 with the same level 1 spirit to say, okay, let's forget about this being overconfident or being laid back. So I wrote level 3 again, putting in a lot of effort into it. And yeah, so the exam went, for me, I kind of, one of the things I'm going to be saying to people today, it's that level 3 is about the money exam. And I think I knew that before going into the exam, months before going into the exam, and I prepared for that. So I came out of the money session, and I know, the exam structure is a bit different. There isn't a lot of break. I came out of the money session, we had 2 hours break, and I could tell that I had a different experience than most people, and I was just confident. So it just takes a lot of work. I think that's the simple. That's a summary.
Okay.
You have to put in the work.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So the biggest memory for you was the amount of work you put in, to pass the exam. So I'm hoping I'll hear something different from Victoria, but it's the same exam, so I won't be surprised.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if I just want to go through memory lane, like Ayakule, level 1, I studied myself, and when I came out of the exam, I did feel like it was bad actually. But the night before the exam, I had a dream that I failed. I feel like I tell this story everywhere. So I literally, like, you know, where you can't sleep again. It was prayer till morning. So after so many prayers, when I woke up and when it was not time, because then we're working physically, so everyone will know the result is out and you'll be shamed. So then when the result came out, I was literally on the passing line. My score was on the passing line. I knew a miracle had to have happened overnight. So I was like, thank you. Then I kept telling people that I'm in front in class. I'm going to sit in the front row. I don't know if I locally must have, but I always used to be in front because my level 1 experience where I passed by hair's breadth was like, because I could see the difference between me that I read on myself and who that did classes. And we'll get to that later. So level 2, I went, this time I took classes, obviously, like COVID then happened, so we had a bit more time. So level 2 was I'll say in my CFA journey, level 2 was the only exam I came out confident that, this one, even if the market in heaven, as Banji will say, I'll pass. Do you get? So, so that one, my heart was even beating when the result came out. I said, okay, cool. Level 3 was a different beast, I would say. Like, it was different, especially because of the change in nature of the exam. Now you have to write in the morning. So I found that change very radical for me because I was like, I haven't done this before. And me, that portfolio management wasn't really my strong forte. I was even bothered that, oh my gosh, now this exam is focused on portfolio management. But I knew that, like, obviously I had to reorientate myself and tell myself, oh, you've done it. Like, God has helped you so far. You're going to do it. Just put in the same work, the same efforts, you would do well. So level 3 came. I think my biggest memory of level 3 was 2 things. One, study groups. I found them very helpful. Like waking up every 4 a.m. to study. That was very helpful, helping put structure to my reading. The second thing that was a memory, although this was like some sort of a bad memory, was the week before the exam. Actually, no, 2 weeks. I had taken 2 weeks leave, right? So the first week of my 2 weeks leave just before the exam, I felt sick. You know, when you're looking at your revision timetable and you just can't even, there's no momentum to stand up and revise. Like, all my revision plans just went down the drain. That's why it's good to start early. And start, like, I can't overemphasize starting early because, like, if not, I had read and I was like I had practice. So I wasn't too frantic that, this sickness is going to distort my whole plan and success in this exam. Although I was afraid, of course, but like I was just, because there were some days I couldn't even read at all. This is 2 weeks to the exam, looking at exam day coming close. You know, when you now go to the website to be telling you the exact number of days to the exam. So it was bad, but I'm just grateful that in the end it paid off. So I'll just advise everyone to just start early and really, really, really know that level 3 is a different beast, as I like to say. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I mean, and that I'm excited to hear that because again, it just affirms to me that what we are doing here is important in terms of separating. Level 1 is level 1, level 2 is level 2, and level 3 is level 3, and so the strategies will be different. So, I mean, hearing what you have said tonight and what Mr. Akole has also said, also just makes me feel that okay, this is right, this is perfect for people. Thank you very much for that experience. So it's time. I mean, this is the time we have been waiting for. At this point, I know you've thought about it, you've put some things together, and let me say, let me just, I will ask the same question so that and you can start. I mean, anybody can start, but because the last time I did it and I made a teacher go first. I mean, last level 2, I had Prof. Ni. By the time Ni was done, it was like teaching the entire. It was a full class. Like it was, you know, it was Olani for president kind of talk, right? So everybody on the call was sold, and my other speaker, Anna, literally had nothing to say, just 1 or 2 things to add, you know. But again, it's good. So, so the question now.
I'm not a professor, so.
I mean, you say that all the time, but we know now. Victoria will tell us what the truth is. Okay, so from the perspective of a teacher, and this is to you, Mr. Akole, and a charter holder, right? what will you share as optimal strategy or tips for passing the level 3 exams? It's the same question for you, Anna, but you'll be sharing from the perspective of a charter holder and a candidate, I mean, in recent times, all right? What would you share as your optimal strategy and tips for passing the level 3 exams? I know there is not one thing to say in a nutshell. I know there is a lot, but we'll take as much as we can tonight just to help people. We want people living here and they have what it takes to go smack those exams and just come back with their charters, right? Thanks to you guys tonight. So let's start with you, Mr. Akunle, please.
So I kind of spoke a bit about it when I spoke earlier, and this is coming from my own personal experience as well as my experience teaching and interacting with people, after the exam, after they've seen their results, either good results or not so good results. My firm position is that the average person that puts in the work, either because you're studying all by yourself or you're coming to class, the average person tends to find the afternoon session, the item set questions in level 3 fairly decent. It's rarely the source of the challenge. Maybe when you speak to 9 out of 10, candidates would think that item set questions was not bad. And the challenge always sits with the morning session, the essay type questions. So from my perspective, I think everyone's optimal strategy will need to revolve around the morning session. And of course, for different people, for candidate A, that strategy would for the morning session will be different from candidate B, because I think the first thing is the shift in mindset, from the previous exams. The second thing is whether you're comfortable with your writing. And the third thing for me is communication, because for the essay type questions, it's not just enough that you understand it. It's not just enough that you can provide the answers. But 3, it's that you're communicating in a way that someone reading understands what you're saying, and you're not adding conflicting statements, because sometimes, also reviewing questions as a teacher is that what you find sometimes is that people are saying the right things, but they're also saying the wrong things at the same time. And as the person reviewing the script, you're genuinely confused as to whether they really have answered the questions correctly or not. So just to summarize, I think the optimal strategy needs to revolve around the morning session. And of course, that optimal strategy would have to be customized to you as a person, where you're coming from, how comfortable you are with that type of exam structure. So that's what I would say. So.
Okay, thank you. That was quite brief. I'm sure there are still a lot of questions, so you'll be able to say more as time goes on. But Victoria, let's have you.
Yeah, when I clearly kept it brief, I'm now bothered. But
no, please.
no, please use my time.
Sure. So I tried to put my strategy into, I think, about 6 buckets of what I think are critical for just excelling in this exam generally. And top of my list is just the mindset. I think a lot goes into mindset, even before you even touch a note, even before you start doing any mocks or watching any videos, even before you start going to class. It's the mindset. I feel like a couple of people, sometimes people just go are preparing for an exam, and they've not settled within themselves that they're preparing to succeed, not just to attempt the exam. I don't know if you see what I mean. So I think that mindset reorientation is very, very important, before you even touch a note. Like, you need to resolve within yourself that you're preparing for this exam to succeed and not to attempt. Because people hear people say, oh, I take the exam, people have taken the exam 3-4 times and they were like, it was in their 4th attempt. People have heard so many negative stories. I remember when I was starting my CFA, it was just negative stories anyway. I remember the first time I saw somebody, saw somebody on LinkedIn though, that had passed the exam in one sitting. Like, I literally had to screenshot it and keep tapping into that testimony. I was like, so this is possible in this industry. Because every time you hear it, it's almost like, oh, I wrote one 3 times. I wrote one 4 times. I'm like, this exam is only 3 and 4 times people write this exam. They can't write it once. Do you get my point? So remember when I saw it, it was just pleasing to see that there was someone that had done this before. Because before then, like, people don't really talk about how many times. They just say, oh, I'm a charter holder. But I didn't know anybody that had said, oh, they've written it just once or 2. So that mindset shift is very important, right? And then the second thing would then be the before even going to the reading. Now, all of this is before reading. The advice under the belief system or the mindset shift I would also give to people that pass level 2 in one sitting and are coming to level 3 and just straight out of one time writing level 2 is, don't let overconfidence or the mindset that, oh, I've passed level 1, level 2 in one sitting overrule you, because that's the beginning of failure. I remember at some point that thing wanted to get to me. I was just finding myself feel like, that level 2, I studied, just maybe like Ayokunle's level 1 thing. I overstudied and that exam was so easy. I was like, is this CFA? Are you sure they're not scamming us like this? Like, it's never that difficult. Do you get? But I'll not have to calm myself to order that. No, hey, let's be guided. This is level 3. This is a different place. Like, let us really be guided. Do you see? So you certainly need to not have, like, anytime you see that mindset coming on where you want to just sleep an extra hour because you think, oh, you read, wake up and read, like, because this is a different level. Like, don't ever try to use an old level's tactic for a new level. So then moving to my second point is really understanding yourself and structuring your reading. Even before, this is all before you even start reading, or you've not started reading yet. Understanding yourself and structuring your reading. And what do I mean by this? So understanding when best you assimilate things, right? I remember I used to try and read in the night most times. Like, after work, we finish working at 10 p.m. I'll still say, I want to give 2 hours to this thing. I'll now find myself sleeping in 30 minutes. I'm like, I'll not be thinking that I have a problem. Like, why am I sleeping? I mean, this course is boring. I'll try to go to an interesting course. It's not really about the course. It's just really that my body is not programmed for reading at that time of the night. Do you understand? So, and then I had met someone that told me something so important. He told me then that this wasn't so good advice, but let me just say it. He said, your employer's work, you can do your employer's work tired. Like, you can, if you have to build a model, you can build it tired because you know you have a deadline. But you can't read CFA tired. So you need to always use the time where your brain is most active to give it to CFA, because you can use your tired brain to work your employer's work. Like, it won't per se suffer, because like you're already, it's not so good advice, but I found it useful because then I now switched my reading strategy. I started reading in the mornings, right? Rather than in the night when I'm so tired and sleepy. Do you get? Because in my mind, you can do your employer's work tired, but don't do, like, just always find a balance, because obviously you're being paid.
I hope my employer is not on this call.
No, I mean, this is someone's advice.
Yeah, I know.
And, I just had to be sure. But obviously, know yourself. Don't go and be doing that. Don't be working in the middle of the day when you have calls. Don't be reading in the middle. Like, that's not what we're saying. But just like in the morning, when your brain, if you're a morning person and you're active in the morning, some people are night people. If you know you're a night person, go for it. Do you understand? And then structuring your reading, having like a timetable. It's actually the timetable I use for my level 3. I was trying to share it here. Maybe I can share after the call, so that like it just has like the different boxes. So I literally printed the paper and I used to go everywhere with it. So I'll just be ticking. When I finish reading, I'll just tick, and make sure, like, towards the exam, almost everyone was ticked, because it showed that I had read almost everything. So now, after those 2, you've now come to the actual reading. So I would advise that you go through the curriculum. I remember it's Ayokunle that used to say this in level 2. That whatever you do, make sure your eye sees the curriculum for this level 2. But I think that principle applies in level 3. That don't say, because level 1, I use Shizer notes. Let me confess, I didn't even open curriculum in mine. Do you get? I use Shizer notes throughout. So, but then I came to level 2 and I heard that statement from Ayokunle. I was like, wow. Me that was already planning my Shizer notes strategy. I was like, let me have to go to this curriculum. So then it then worked for me in level 2. So I knew that level 3, no matter what you do, let your eyes see the curriculum. So that's a very important strategy. And obviously, like, read extensively, like, don't limit yourself, like, watch videos. If you go to class, you're taught something. If you're doing classes, some people, they're able to read by themselves. Me, I like the structure of class, right? Because it helps give me structure to my reading and I can follow the pattern. But just make sure that you read extensively. That's the word. Extensively. Like, if it's like Schweizer, what I used to do, I'll read the curriculum first reading. Then when I'm trying to do my revision, I'll then be using Schweizer notes because it's shorter. So I don't have to go through every single page of the curriculum. So I'll just use Schweizer notes to see the summaries. But obviously my curriculum is by the side. So I'm also checking, okay, what was this concept? What was this concept here and there? Then that's the third tip. The fourth tip is around study groups and classes. You can do both. You can do either or. So it goes back to understanding yourself. If you know you're a classes person, then it's best you go for it. Because after my level 1, I knew that I just played myself by not going for that class. Because I could see the difference. What even happened towards the end of level 1, I had a colleague that was attending the class, but me, I wasn't. Then they had a study group then. So when I used to go and join them once in a while to study, I realized how like smart these people were. They knew everything in the curriculum because we were taking classes in different sets, right? So they knew how like everything was, and I was like, how did you know? I remember we do mocks, they'll be getting 80%. Yeah, I'll still be in my 59% range, and I'm here trying to manage myself. But like that's when I knew that there's a clear difference. There's like the difference was like night and day. Something has to be happening in these classes. So that's why I knew that level 2 I'll be in front. So know yourself, know whether classes work for you, know whether you're not really a classes person, you rather study by yourself, you're able to discipline yourself to study. And then for study groups, so crucial. I found it super helpful for my level 3 particularly. So find people that are writing the exam with you. You guys should create a structure, right? So what we used to do, we had the 4 a.m. and vibes group. That's literally the name of the group. So every 4 a.m. somebody comes on the group. It's time, guys. So calls everyone. We wake up. We start doing questions, or just sometimes not even questions, just really talking about a topic. Or how did they teach this in class? How do you understand it? Maybe somebody else has watched McMuldrum and saw another way of explaining that same concept that was not so clear in class. So it was just like a discussion forum. And even towards the exam, we even started having more frequent. So we'll do the 4 a.m. one, we'll do 6 p.m. Like we'll literally be doing morning and evening like that. And we went through, and it even helps leverage you in terms of questions. So some of the questions we'll do there, I don't have to go and redo them again in my personal study. Like we used to use IFC questions. So once we've done the end of chapter, right? So some of the end of chapters, I don't have to go and redo the end of chapter again because I've soaked myself into this study group session. So it's not even about just doing the study group. You need to soak yourself into it so that you get the most out of it. Mm-hmm. Then the last tip for now is questions. That's how I usually do it. Question. Because CFA is part reading, part questions, because you need to know the form in which they ask questions. Because you might know the content, trust me, but if you don't do questions extensively, so the way you read extensively is the way you should ask questions extensively. Literally, like there are two things that go hand in hand, right? I remember before I even started, one of my friends that had written the level 3 exam didn't pass the first time, didn't pass the second time as well, but his second time result was better than the first time. And he said the second time he didn't even reread the content, he just did questions extensively, and he did better than his first attempt. Do you see? So questions cannot be overemphasized. I usually say like give 1.5 months to questions. That's what that's my typical rule of thumb, right? Just extensive questions where you're solving every and anything. I'll tell you what I did for my level 3. Actually, I did in level 2 and level 3, and it worked. So when I say questions, what I did was level 2, I sat with past questions from 2012 to 2020. One kind of crazy period, right? Just going through every year. So I'll pick, let's say I'm doing fixed income today. I'll do all the fixed incomes across the years, right? Do all the equities across the years. And what that helped me do is I started to see patterns, right? I'm like, okay, they seem to always ask this topic. I need to go and be solid in this topic. Do you get? They seem to always ask about this area. It now made me go and focus on that area. So that kind of extensive questions, even for level 3, I did the same with one of my study group members. We sat down with past questions for like 8 years or something. Did it like literally every day. This was when we were on leave, obviously, so it was easier. So we literally in the morning we start for the year, 2 years. We'd probably do 2 years a day, 2 years a day. And it helps you see patterns. That's what past question does. Helps you see patterns, helps you see areas of concentration. You know, in secondary school and uni, they'll say, oh, where's the area of concentration? Although CFA will claim there's nothing like that, but some of those things, some of those concepts we're revising every time. You tend to see them in exam because they are just frequently asked questions. Like, it's just things that is very testable. Do you see? And even for my level 2, I remember very clearly, like, because I had done fixed income questions over many years, and I had understood that there are some particular topics they always ask every year. And I'd literally chewed those topics. I remember my fixed income exam going in, and I was like, no, these people couldn't have just asked these basic things. There has to be more to it. But because me, I've chewed the question, that's why it looks basic to me. Like, anybody that have not studied questions will be like, this thing is so difficult. What did they go and ask? And do you get? So, but like, if you sat down, because I saw they kept asking that topic. Like, that topic, if you ask me in my sleep, I would tell you the thing about that topic. Do you get? So I had chewed the topic literally. So when I went there and I saw like the beginner level questions, I was like, no way, this people didn't come here to test me about this basic stuff. Anyway, so, but that's what I'll say. Questions. Do mocks. Time yourself in your mocks. That's another thing I'll say. Time is, don't just do, like, when you're doing, there are questions you do just casually because you just want to like acclimatize yourself with the kind of questions they ask. But also do structured mocks where you time yourself and you keep to the time. Do you get? And then mark it afterwards. Something else I'll say is for level 3, because it's essay in the morning, you have to practice that writing. And now it's actually typing. So you have to practice typing, your speed of typing. All of that is a part of the things you have to practice over time. Then also, I would say that for the end of chapter questions, something else I noticed for my level 1 and level 2, what I used to do is when I read a topic, let's say I read it today, I finished today, in the evening, I'll now come and do the questions. I'll now be scoring 6 over 6, 10 over 10. Then when I got to level 3, someone asked me that, is that what you do? The person was so shocked that's what I do. Because the person was like, you will get 10 over 10 now. You just read the topic today. You answered the questions today. Why would you get 10 over 10? Do you understand? So what the person then told me, which I found so profound, was that he always gives himself 1 week after the question, after reading that topic, to see how much he has retained. Because it's about retaining. It's not about getting 10 over 10 in mock, because you need to know that 10 over 10 in the main exam. So it shows how much he's retained, and then he can now use that time to use that opportunity to also check those topics that he was not able to retain and solidify them. So that I found that so useful. So that's what I used to do. Like, I'll read this topic today. Maybe not 1 week. 1 week might be long. Maybe 3 days, 5 days. But just make sure there's some time. Don't do the questions immediately after. You get 10 over 10 and you think you're sorry. But you will not realize that maybe the retention ratio is low. Give it some time. Then also what I wanted to say was another strategy that helped me, this is not part of my core strategies, but and this helped in level 2 more because there were more formulas, but level 3, it also helped. Towards the exam, when I started to focus on questions, and I started to see patterns, right? What I did was I created sticky notes for all the courses on my laptop. So what then happens is that I begin to note the salient points, the things that always seem to come out, the things that they're always asking about, or the things that I haven't been able to like store in my head just yet. I'm not yet understanding. I've not understood it fully. I'll just write them. If there's a formula, I'll write it in the sticky note. So what then happens is that anytime I want to start reading, I'll start with my sticky notes. Okay, this thing. I'll try and go around the 10. Sometimes I'm not able to go around 10. I can just go around 5 or 2 or 3. But just that thing just helps reaffirm it in your memory. Do you get? Imagine doing it 1.5 months to the exam. By the exam, you're chewing those formulas. You're like X and Y. You get? Do you get? So that just helps. Then something else I was going to. So those are my core tips, but these are now like bonus points. Another thing I would say that I think might have helped was, and this is still going back to my believing yourself and trusting. If you're, I guess people that are religious or Christian, they would trust in God, basically. What I want to say is that believing yourself and believing in your ability to succeed. So what I did was I took people's results that had passed before, and I edited it and put my name in it in faith, right? That my own is coming, like it's not going to be missed for any reason. And then I pasted it on the wall where I used to study. So literally every time I'm reading, I look up at it and I'm like, yeah, that's my testimony. That's my testimony. Sometimes I don't know, it probably helped because you can't say it didn't help, because I mean, it kept reaffirming the fact that I'm not writing the exam to attempt it, I'm writing to succeed. So little things like that help. Do you get? So that's what I would say really, really helped me. attempt the exam and pass, because indeed level 3, as I said, is a different ball game, and you need to tackle it differently from every other level. As I equally said, it can't be overstressed. The difference between level 3 and every other level is the fact that that morning part, you need to be so clear, and that comes from like practicing, seeing how they always frequently answer their questions. Then you begin to see that thing about patterns, so important. So let me just stop here so I don't finish the time.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
it was good that I didn't take Victoria's time, because I'm not sure I could have done such a good job. Well, I think just listening to you brought a couple of things to mind. I just sort of add to that. There's something that I call a feedback system. So I just paint a scenario. I believe that our brains sort of encourage us to study what we like and not study what we don't like. Or even if you're studying everything, our brain will encourage us to put in passion, intensity, and concentration and everything into what you like. And for the things you don't like, is either you're not reading them, or even when you're reading them, because you're forcing yourself, you might not, be getting as much out of it. And so how do you fix that? How do you fix that? You fix that by allowing, so Victoria already talked about past questions, attempting questions, end of chapter questions, exam questions, more questions, putting yourself in exam conditions, and that you should do. That's extremely important. But the additional layer over that is that you need to allow that process to, you need a feedback loop, so that, and I'll give an example. Imagine you keep scoring 80, you keep writing questions, and you keep scoring 80%, 80%, 80%, 80%. But on the exam day, CFA gathers all the 20%, that you haven't gotten correct, and just put it together as your question. Of course, the result is not going to be great. So it's important that when you write questions, you ask yourself, which ones am I struggling with? And you need to do that at the subject level. You need to do that at the reading level. You need to do that at the concept level, so that you know what to go back and study. And because again, there's no need to put in hours on end to a concept you're already scoring 100% at. You need to channel your energy into those areas that you're struggling with. And how can you tell that you're struggling if you don't attempt questions and if you don't try to learn from those questions? So I just like to encourage everyone, start solving questions early. And as you solve them, let it point you to the area that you need to focus on. Again, when I wrote level 3, it's been a while now, but I think I wrote my first mock exam, probably 2 months to the exam. I just sat down. Nobody's ready for the exam 2 months to the exam. I can tell you, but I wrote the mock exam. But what I realized, I think it was fixed income. I literally got 0 in fixed income. Literally, 2 months to the exam. And the funny thing was that I was confident, leading up to that. But for me, it was important to get that feedback, because I quickly dumped the Schweizer I was reading and went to carry the fixed income in the curriculum, and I read it back to back, So the summary of what I'm saying is feedback. So question, feedback. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Also, sorry, as Oyekune was talking, something else came to my mind.
Please.
Don't be demotivated by your mocks and your question doing, like when you score 4/10. It should just be pointers to areas where you need to improve, as he said. Do you get? So because increase, like sometimes indeed, after you study so hard, you come and get one low score in mock, you're feeling like, do I really know this thing? But what I realize is that the things that subconsciously still stay in your head. And what I tell myself is better to feel something in mock and outside the exam, but get it in the exam hall, than to be flying high here, and then in the exam hall I'm struggling. So I'm always happy. Like, let me even feel it now. Let me remember that Victoria, you feel this thing before, so you know the correct thing now. So don't be discouraged by your low mock scores. I'll say throughout my CFA journey, I don't think I ever scored mocks. When people used to score mocks in 70%, I'm like, these guys are smart. My mocks are always in that 60-something range. Level 1 was 59-ish. So, but I still passed all the exams. So my point is, don't be discouraged by your mocks.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Victoria.
And I think it's important to just motivate yourself. And for you, it's going to be different than for the next person. I think Victoria, gave a super example of how she motivated herself. You need that motivation. You need the positive motivation. You need the negative motivation. And what do I mean by negative motivation? So, for example, like when I wrote the CFA exams, I remember I would, so obviously New Frontiers didn't exist. So I didn't go to school, but I would typically order, the Schweizer books. And for me, it was expensive, to pay for the CFA exams, to order the Schweizer books, even though I could get the Schweizer books from different sources, but I would order it. But I said to myself, this money, I don't want to spend it again, So in fact, like the joke then is that I ordered the books, there were no digital books at that time. You actually ordered the physical books. So I take it to the office, I put it on my desk in the office, not because I'm going to read them, but because like I'm just seeing it every time. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to spend this money all over again. So you need, just find what works. For some people, it's it's family. For some people, it's just different. You just find that thing, that's going to sort of motivate you when you need to wake up in the night, and all of that.
Thank you very, very much. Oh, Victoria, is there something that came up again?
No.
I'll gladly take it. Trust me. I'll gladly take it. I mean, this is why we are here today. And thank you very much.
Okay, so now I'll help Victoria. And I'll help Victoria. So this might be a bit controversial, but I think so for the people that have listened to all the advice, who are putting in a lot of effort, a lot of work and all of that, you then need to find a way to unwind as well. Okay. So an unwind doesn't mean it has to be long hours of unwinding and all of that. So I'm not encouraging anybody to play away, why they're supposed to be studying for CFA, but you have to relax. Otherwise, you might get into that tired thing, that fatigue. You don't want to work so hard, and a few days to the exam, your brain is actually tired. So you need to find something that helps you to unwind. It doesn't have to be something that requires a lot of hours. So when I wrote CFA, I was learning photography. So I was always carrying my digital cameras. In fact, an interesting story was on the flight to Ghana. I had my camera and I had a digital photography book on the flight, and the guy sitting beside me was reading CFA book, and I'm sure he was looking at me like, this guy is going to go and cover an event in Ghana. So we got talking, and like, oh, why are you going to Ghana? So I said, oh, I'm going to write an exam, and the guy couldn't really believe it. Like, oh, you're going to write an exam and you're reading photography. But what he didn't know was that I had read a lot of the CFA as well, but I just needed to clear my head. So find something that works for you, that helps you to relax. It doesn't have to take so much time, but you need it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, I mean, it's been a lot. And thank you. I can see some questions already popped in, and I've seen Victoria already provided answers. Thank you very much, Victoria. Lola has asked whether you could share the past questions, and Victoria has magnanimously shared the link to those questions. So again, it's there for you, everyone. You can pick it up from there. Thank you very much, Victoria, for that. Then, okay, Peter had a question about motivation, and I think you've responded as well, and Mr. Akunle have said something about it. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. And the evening is still on, so if anything comes up again, and feel free to say it. I mean, even in the middle of another question that I'll ask you, because again, until you don't need the tips anymore, right? It's the people on this call that need to pass. I need to pass level 3. So please just leave this meeting empty. Let there be nothing you haven't said, as it were, right? So and I hope that just to show that we'll take questions, and Anna, I can see your questions. We'll take them. If you're able to provide answers now, type in fine, but I will take all the questions. So please, just like everybody is doing, you can drop in your questions as well. And so I'm sure you picked up a number of things from what they said. Usually the way I check whether people were actually listening, and I trust that you've been listening, is that I ask that participants, drop something in the comment box about something that has hit you tonight, something that hit you, tonight, from something you're going to apply, something you're going to take away and apply. So if you're able to get on your keypads and just type in something just to see, and don't worry, I won't miss your questions. I will come back to them at the appropriate time. I will take all your questions, but please, just so I can know and so our speakers can know you've been listening, let's see what you had from ensuring that you are communicating correctly and you are not conflicting yourself in your answers and responses, to paying a lot of attention to the morning session, to ensuring that you have a feedback system that tells you, that actually measures correctly how you're performing, to motivating yourself, to finding a way to unwind, to working on your mindset even before exams, ensuring that there's a possibility mindset, whatever you have to do to get yourself into that zone, avoiding overconfidence, understanding yourself, structuring your reading timetable, that's creating a timetable that works for you. If you are not nocturnal, don't try to read at night. I mean, you didn't do it during your school days. It's not going to happen now that you're working. It's not going to work. So be sure that you have the right strategy. So I've mentioned some. So before I continue, I mean, let me see those keypads moving. If not, I won't continue. Sorry, I need to be sure that you are listening. A whole lot is being said. I need to be sure that you are picking it up and you are chewing it. So, okay. Yeah, Victoria, thank you. I can see the planner again. Thanks so much for dropping the planner. Level 3 planner. Okay, guys. So I'll start calling names if I don't see your comments, because you need to do this quickly so I can move on. Okay. Is somebody typing? Yes, Ola, I can see your question. Can you guys share approach to writing? Yes, I'll take all these questions, but right now what I'm taking is comments rather. I mean, or points that you have learned from tonight. So something you have picked from tonight, because that's one of the hottest questions before I take just one or so more. So Agatha, are you able to help me? Bex, Chibuzo, Chidera, Chinwe, Ebi, Ima. Thank you, Ginika. Going over past questions to spot patterns. Thank you very much. This is very, very profound. Very, very profound. Thank you, Ginika. This works. I'm putting key topics and points per topic in view as quick refreshers before studying. Thank you very much, Ginika. Polisho, I'm waiting for you. Gifts, Anna, Lola, Love. Study groups, Emma. Thank you very much, Emma. Study groups, very useful. Thank you very much. Study groups, very useful. Thank you. Lola, Love, and Kim, Philip, Thompson, Toby. Let me have like two more, then I'll free you and move on. Thank you, Lola. Practice as many questions as possible. Chinwe, solve questions. Thank you. I mean, that's profound. You can't overemphasize that. So thank you very much, everyone. Just to be sure that we're participating. So then she also talked about what she would have called a minor strategy. But if you understand, for example, go through curriculum. Thank you, Chinwe. If you understand a bit of music, for example, the keyboard, there are major keys and there are minor keys on the keyboard, right? So those of you that understand. Yes, you can stick to the major keys, but what we have is flat music. It's a combination of the minor keys and the major keys that helps you produce, melody, symphony, harmony, you know, as it were. So one of the things she mentioned was what she did about renewing her mind with, you know, picking a result of someone who had passed. I mean, there's nothing the person will do with the result anymore anyway. And just taking out the person's name and putting her name. I mean, it worked for her. There will be other minor strategies like that that are personal to you. Please ensure that you figure out these things for yourself and you get to really use them. But thank you very much for those tips. I think they are profound, and I think our audience have been most helped. I'm sure our media team would also, this video would be uploaded on YouTube. As a matter of fact, it's streaming live right now on YouTube, so I'm sure some people are watching from there, and it will be there for people to watch over and over. And we'll repurpose the content we've had tonight, put these things together so that people can remember them, you know, think about them and pass them. We just want you to pass your exams and pass at one sitting as much as possible. And I mean, as soon as you try. Okay, so the next question I'll take now is, so let me ask now and maybe I should just combine these two last questions and say, would you say there is any value in attending classes when it comes to preparing for the CFA exams? Hopefully you can share what that value is. Then let me just tie it straight away. Okay, let's take that first. Let me not tie it. I mean, different questions. So would you say there is any value in attending classes? I wouldn't say obviously. I leave you to be the judge of that. So Victoria, let me take you first, if you don't mind.
Yeah, as I was just sitting here, I was just wondering how Ayokunle in his year could have done without classes. Anyways, like I just keep wondering how life was before classes began. Oh.
Yeah.
But anyways, I certainly think there's some value in it, but it depends on the individual in the end.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say one size fits all, because people go for classes, but as they used to say in secondary school, don't let the school pass through you. You used to pass through the school. Like, you need to let the school pass through you as well. You need to soak yourself into it. You need to ensure that you're not just there to take a box. You're engaging, you're sometimes preparing beforehand, you come with valid questions to class to teach, and not even letting the school keep moving ahead, like making good progress so that you can achieve your goal. So I certainly think it has its benefits. The downside to it, obviously, is that it takes your weekends. You barely have any time to like study during the weekend, which would have ideally been the time you have to study. But understanding yourself and structuring your reading around even that constraint could really help. As I said, like, because I saw the difference between those that took classes in level 1 and those that didn't take, like me, in level 1, I knew that classes certainly was doing something that I wasn't getting the benefit of. And that's why I went to class. Although, like, in level 3, when the classes were fully virtual, I was like, I wasn't too sure, like, some of them were the most useful, but like the ones that were still useful were useful. Do you see what I mean? But now I know that, like, physical classes are coming back, because then you can interact, you can engage. Because I certainly prefer the physical one where you could ask questions and like just get a direct pulse. Even after class, you can follow the lecturer literally to the gate, just keep asking your question. Do you get? But with virtual, you couldn't really get all those benefits. But I say it certainly helps, but it also depends on the individual, because people are not classes people. I know people that have passed all 3 exams in one sitting without going to a single class. So it depends on the individual.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Victoria. And talking about classes, physical classes are back, just like you mentioned. They are back and fully back. Starts tomorrow, April 2nd. And it's even still free classes for now. So you can come to class from tomorrow. I'll share more about that in a moment. But I think this question is important for Mr. Ayokunle as well. And that's because, not just because you teach, but because you didn't even have any support whatsoever, right, in terms of classes. So it's good. So right now you're able to pass your exams, but now you're standing in front of people, helping them. I mean, New Frontiers has helped about 3,000 students, about 3,000 professionals. Like me said last week, it gets to everywhere. I mean, he shared his experience of going to an hospital 2 weeks ago, in an hospital, not in a financial services firm, in an hospital. And somebody was greeting him like, I know you, you're Niyi from New Frontiers, you know. I'm sure you get that at the gas station, at the restaurant, at all kinds of places, right? But this question goes to you as well. You've experienced both. Experience is just that your own experience now is as faculty. I mean, you can't write the exam anymore. So any value?
Yeah, so just talking about, I went to a client's office yesterday, and the moment I walked in, so there was this guy that I saw him, and he just stood up, to come and shake my hand. I couldn't remember his name, but it was a New Frontiers student. So yes, we meet New Frontiers alumni everywhere, every nook and cranny. Yeah. So what's the value in attending classes? Like Victoria said, we're always, even as New Frontiers, we're always upfront with the fact that you can pass the exams without attending classes. Yes, that's what we sell, and it's counterintuitive to say that, but there's still a lot of value in attending classes, and I just sort of run through some of them. I think some, it's really hard to, no matter how smart you are, because CFA is quite, there's a lot of diversification even in the topics. So no matter how smart you are, or no matter how experienced you are, it's very unlikely that you are on fire in equity, on fire in fixed income, on fire in derivatives. It's really hard, and no matter how intelligent, no matter how experienced. And you also really find one single person whose career has spanned these topic areas. It's almost impossible. So one of the things that, one of the value that you get, when you come to a school like New Frontiers, it's that you're accessing people that are experts in those subject areas because they've spent time studying it, or people that are experienced in those subject area, and they can deliver that to you. And it's even more important in level 3 because everyone in the room will agree that in terms of being practical, that level 1, it's like, cram it, deliver it, but as you move from level 1 to level 2 to level 3, the burden to be able to practicalize it increases. In fact, one of the things I tell students in class, it's that, if you're writing level 3, you're wearing different caps. You're a portfolio manager today, the next time you're an analyst. So you need, so if you've never been a portfolio manager in an asset management firm, then you benefit from someone who is a portfolio manager teaching you. If you've never sold a derivative product, if you've never structured a derivative product, you're definitely going to benefit if the person teaching you structures derivatives for a living. So that's one benefit. I think another benefit that comes with coming to school is one of the things Victoria already mentioned, which is that you just get that discipline, of tracking, because it's the school. They would open their doors on Friday, they open their doors on Saturday. Even if your cousin is getting married, the doors will be open. So it just tracks. And the next thing I'll talk about is that the school is also structured to cover every part of the curriculum. I remember when I wrote my level 3 exam, there was a tax question, and it was that the tax thing was one of the things all the way I was reading, I never understood it. So I got into the exam, I saw the question, I just skipped it. Strange enough, I teach that today, and I now understand it, by the way. But the point is, you get that opportunity to just cover everything. I think coming to school also makes the stress of reading and the stress of CFA a bit lighter because you're meeting people. For a lot of people, it's fun, and you get to engage, and to meet other people doing exactly what you're doing. So that way you don't feel so crazy, and you don't feel so different. And I think the last benefit I would mention is a network, and personally, I love level 3 candidates because the beauty about teaching level 3, it's that, as a teacher and the students, we're actually just all the same, because the only exam I've written, the body of knowledge I've studied there's no body of knowledge that I've studied that you haven't studied. Versus when I'm teaching level 2 students, there's something I know that they don't know. But when I'm teaching level 3 students, practically there's nothing I know that you don't know. It's just a timing difference. It's a timing difference. So that collegiate perspective to teaching, I love that. I love the fact that people can challenge me in class. We can have a discussion, we can have an argument, and just sort of exchange ideas. So and beyond, the content for the CFA, I think for life, for career, for the professional workspace, I think it's a fantastic opportunity to network with people. I know so many people that come into school have just sort of made, extra impact on their business, on their career, even years later. So that's it.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. And just to butcher those, there is this level 3 group in school that wrote their exams, I think, middle of last year. The conversations that go on in that group, I just wake up and see conversations about something that is happening in the economy again, something that somebody is doing, something that is happening in Russia impacts the market, and whether it's Mr. Akole or Michael or Banji, everybody is just quick to say something, and respond and interact on that group. So very, very, very true. So let me bring it home. This is the last question before I share a brief presentation. Then I take additional questions from our audience tonight. I'm sure we've had a beautiful evening, thus far. So let me bring it home. I will do this. I don't have nothing. There's nothing. I have to do this one. So just to be sure. So there are classes, but there are CFA programs, right? But there is the CFA program that happens at New Frontiers. So let's bring it home. Let's talk about New Frontiers. So I know there's value in attending classes. I hear you and I agree with you. But then tell me personally, the role that attending a program at New Frontiers has played in your life as a candidate, and perhaps in the life of the candidates you have taught, as a teacher. So any of you can go first this time. So it's fine.
Ladies first.
Okay.
I was just about to pass it, but I was late to unmute. But okay, it's fine.
I can go actually if you want me to. It's fine.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Let me go from this. So, certainly New Frontiers was helpful to me. Always going back to my level 1 story. My colleague was doing New Frontiers classes, and she put me in touch with the other team people she used to study with that were all in New Frontiers, right? And then I just could see the difference. Difference was just clear. And they will always talk about their lecturers and how this one can break concepts down, the most complicated thing into simple English. I was like, is this what goes on here? So obviously when I came for level 2 classes, I actually indeed experienced that. Most of the things that were complicated, they'll just make it, especially the real everyday life scenarios that they put it into, it just brings life to what has been complicated or just put in very technical jargons in the curriculum. So I certainly think New Frontiers was a major, major player in my success throughout my CFA level 2 and level 3, particularly, journey. And then it helped me meet the study group people that I was talking about. So going to Ayokune's point, the people you meet there, at least you're doing, as they say, don't do life alone. You're doing this CFA life with people. So you're able to even form a study group. If you find people that gel with you and all that, you can continue form a study group, continue practicing questions. It just gives you also accountability partners within the system that you can always interact with them. So it certainly helps. I think the lecturers are fantastic, or the faculty, as they call it, are fantastic. Some of them, they don't break it down as much. Let me just put it they don't break the concept down as much. They are the ones that do it absolutely amazing, of which Ayakune is one of them. I remember he made me love private wealth and made me start reading private wealth as my first level 3 topic, because I was like, hey, how can someone be this passionate about this private wealth? And we think So I then, and it made it easy. At least I was no more scared because it was something that he had made it sound like, okay, this is like your normal day-to-day wealth. Like this is like you managing your wealth. Do you get? So I was like very happy to experience that. But particularly level 3, I'll say level 3 lectures are actually good. Like is the ones where they don't break down is more level 1, level 2, where you see some lecturers that don't break it down as much. But level 3 in particular, I think they're very thorough with the caliber of faculty that they bring there to break down concepts.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Thank you.
Okay, so why New Frontiers? I think Victoria said a lot of things, but having been part of New Frontiers from day zero, I think one of the key things is the passion. As teachers, and I'm speaking about the community as well as myself. We're passionate about this, and it's extremely important to us. So, and that just sort of goes into what happens, when we're teaching, even outside teaching, the time and effort, that goes into it. And for level 3, it's even more important because, one of the things I do with the level 3 candidates, it's, just getting you guys to write, to write, and in this case, to type, and providing direct feedback on things you type. Again, you can't really do that if you're not passionate about helping people, and that's what we're trying to replicate at New Frontiers. And the fact that we've done this for so many years, it just also means that it just gets better. We have that history of helping people, how we've done it, and we're just getting better at it. So it's so I'm selling to you now. So I look forward to having you guys in my class. Like Victoria said, one of the things I teach in level 3 is private wealth management, and you can be sure that's the morning session question. And the beauty about teaching private wealth or learning private wealth is that, these are practical skills that it's useful, because again, if you're writing CFA, it means you're going to be rich, right? So, so you can as well learn how to manage, not just pass the exam, but how to manage your wealth. So I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody in class, and it's fun, like I said, it's collegiate, we're learning this thing together, and again, I don't even know who does it better than us, really. So please, you're more than welcome, and we look forward to having you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akule. And the most important part that I had is, and I've been looking for a tagline, for school. We have a tagline, but I'm trying to, just for the kind of things we are trying to do now, the new programs we are bringing and all that, I'm trying to see whether we can change our tagline. But I think I like the one you just said tonight, that if you're writing the survey, you're going to be rich, right? So I think I like that one. So I can borrow it and use it. So you need to learn how to manage it. But thank you very much. Thank you very much. And there's just very little for me to add to what they have both said. And they are not going, they are not leaving. They will take additional questions and give their parting words. They haven't given their parting words yet, but I need to do this quickly. So if you would please just give me 10 minutes, I should be able to run through this quickly. I have something interesting here to show you. So, okay, please kindly confirm that you can see my screen. Can you see my screen, please?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. So, okay, let me take, oh, thank you very much. Thank you. So let me take this quickly. So we already did this. I mean, question and answers is what we take now. I'm just taking CFA and U. That's the third item and the agenda. This is specific information for level 3. So I'm starting with this. So this is Pelumi had, and I'm glad I'm using this particular review. There are a lot of reviews like this. And Victoria, I think this is one of the kind of reviews that Victoria listened to that helped her as well. I received my CFA charter today, having passed the 3 levels of the CFA program at first attempt. Victoria, I'm sure this is the type, right? Thank you. So
yeah, this is what I was looking for all the while.
Okay, all right, good. Thank you. And met the requirements of the CFA Institute. It was quite a journey. and I'm really grateful for this milestone. Many thanks to the tutors at New Frontiers Learning Center for the knowledge shared. This is, with Balumi's permission, we grabbed this from LinkedIn. So the CFA program you already know, #1 finance designation globally, administered by the CFA Institute, about 200,000 charter holders globally, and the number in Nigeria is growing every single day, right? With more people passing their exams and taking their charter. We celebrated about 15 new charter holders at our party about 3 weekends ago, and it was beautiful. I mean, there were people who were meeting Mr. Okole for the first time, for example, meeting people for the first time, and it was a beautiful evening. Victoria was around that evening as well, I think. Okay, so I look forward to celebrating more people on this call at our next party, just for you. It's for you alone. So, of course, earning the charter will require that you pass 3 levels of the exams, 36 months of qualifying work experience, and pledging to adhere to the code of ethics and standards of professional conduct. We're talking about level 3, so you know that the program is broken down into 3 levels. Let's go straight here. The level 3 format: vignette supported constructed response questions and vignette supported multiple choice questions. Vignette supported constructed response questions. So it means you'll be constructing your responses, right, to those questions. Then multiple choice questions that support vignettes or episodes that have been written as it well. Of course, your topic areas are these. I'm sure you're familiar with this. Let me go straight to the dates. Now, for this 2022, May and August are the only dates when the level 3 will be writing their exams. I'm sure the Institute will release the 2023 dates very, very soon. Okay, so level 3, this is the weight. This is what happens at level 3. This is your curriculum. It's biggest at portfolio management, with about 35 to 40% of what you'll be learning and writing about 40%. That's 40% is almost half, right, of the entire thing. Of course, 15% fixed income to 20%. Then 10 to 15 equity, ethics, then 5 to 10 derivatives, economics, and alternative investment. So, I mean, this also helps you plan your strategy, your reading strategy, right? Then the format. You had Mr. Okole was talking about the morning session now. So it's kind of changed, not exactly morning, afternoon anymore. But again, there's a first, and then there is a second session. I hope I'm still audible. Okay, good. All right. So the level 3 exam consists of item sets comprised of vignettes with accompanying multiple choice items and constructed responses, essay questions. And the duration for this is the level 3 exam will be 4 hours and 24 minutes, split into 2 equal sessions of 2 hours and 12 minutes with an optional break in between. This information was sourced from the CFA Institute website. Now, having talked about the CFA program, let me bring it home. So our story at New Frontiers is a very simple one. It is a true story that's born out of a compelling desire to help ease the journey of every CFA exam candidate in Nigeria. It's simple. The only reason why New Frontiers exists is to help ease that journey. Our founders went through the journey with little or no support of any kind. I mean, you've heard it tonight from what Mr. Okole said. Little or no support. They had no support. And many times I think about it and I wonder, why do these people really do this thing that they do, right? However, they vow to turn into reality the dream of every CFA candidate. And that's the dream of earning the prestigious CFA charter, irrespective of their backgrounds, whether it's finance or non-finance alike. And after more than a decade of pursuing this vision, we're about 13 years now, 12 years already now. After over a decade of doing that, our market has experienced significant leaps through the influx of about 3,000 professionals. This is old information, about 3,000 professionals now from New Frontiers, and they are now revolutionaries in various markets of the world. We'd like to welcome you to join the revolutionaries and join the thousands of candidates and professionals, to grow your career. Of course, this is just a cross-section across founders. I actually with you, CFA, Michael Anyima, CFA, Banji Faintola, CFA, and Olani Yogunbayo on CFA. Okay, so why New Frontiers? Quickly, world-class faculty of leading investment professionals. This is one of the biggest things that you'll find at New Frontiers Learning Center. When it comes to faculty, when it comes to the people that deliver, anybody can grab the curriculum, anybody can prepare slides, anybody can have the charter. But you see, knowing your stuff is one thing, but then passing it across is another thing entirely. We've all been through various programs at our undergraduate levels, postgraduate programs, and then you know that yes, someone can be smart, someone can understand, can know what he's talking about in terms of knowing it for himself, knowing it to pass an exam, knowing it to be a professor or to become an academician, as it were. But then passing it across is something else entirely, and that is one thing that we guarantee at New Frontiers Learning Center. We've been doing this for more than 12 years, and we lead that space. There is really no competition with New Frontiers Learning Center in this space. Scholarships, discounts, and special offers. Like I say, in the last 2 years, particularly since COVID-19, the lockdown, the pandemic, and the turnout of things with the economy in several nations of the world, we've given out more scholarships, more discounts, more special offers, more concessions than in the history of this school. We've done a lot more in the last 2 years. If you are under any pressure, trust me, it's because you are not talking to us. If you talk to us, we can work out something. And we have supported God knows how many students. And even with how much we have supported in the first 10 years, the first decade, I believe that we have done more in the last 2 years than any other time in the history of New Frontier. So please reach out to us. Our greatest joy is to help you pass the exams. The only thing we will not be able to do for you is write the exams for you. Anything other than that, we are more than willing to support you and give you all the help that you require. Of course, class assignments, monthly tests, mock exams to reinforce classes, because we understand that it's not enough to sit in a class. There has to be a way. We have a system that has been proven, more than 1 decade of running this system, of reinforcing what we learn in class and ensuring that people absorb and retain this thing. You heard Victoria talking about how it's not just about reading and solving questions immediately. What you are testing when it comes to the CFA exam is retention, your capacity to store and retain and be able to bring back when the institute asks you, okay, what is this? How do you apply this learning here? And that's how our classes have been structured, with lots of assignments, tests, mock exams to reinforce classes. There is a no pass, no pay, and I mean a no pass, no pay policy that we have in school, where if you have met certain conditions and you still do not pass, you can come back, grab us by the collar and get your fees. Now, how we provide that has its terms and conditions which you must meet, and it's open, it's publicly available information, nothing secret about it. You can reach out to us. That's it's a guarantee. And of course, candidate support. I remember this week we still sent out job and career opportunities. You see, because New Frontiers has been doing this for more than a decade, and we've been able to impact about 3,000 professionals already during the course of the existence of this school. Employers many times reach out to us and say, we know the crop of people that you people have. Here is a vacancy that needs to be filled in this investment space. And so if you know somebody, finance and investment, who is interested in this, and a lot of people have gotten opportunities like that just by being in New Frontier. So it's more than attending classes. It's there is a place of growing your career. There is a network that you get. There is the place of having a lot of people, like-minded people, and having that number of intelligent people in one room at the same time. So please, this is the reason why we believe New Frontiers stand out, or some of the reasons why we believe that New Frontiers stand out in the market. We look forward to receiving you, and you will be glad that you did. This is Busola Jeje. Busola had passed her exams in August last year. She was among those we celebrated a few weeks ago. He said, I'm happy to announce that I passed the level 3 August CFA Level 3 exams. My journey has been filled with tears, caffeine, sleepless nights, and panic attacks, but I'm grateful to God that I finished all levels at one sitting. This is the story of Busola again, at one sitting. Particularly grateful for the solid knowledge learned and how it has positively shaped my career. Special shout out to the Tutorial Center, New Frontiers Learning Center, that I used for all my levels, and my tutors, Banji, Michael, and of course, Ayokunle as well, one of them. So what are the options you have with the diversification that has come into learning today and the many various learning styles out there? New Frontiers has tried and is trying. We're evolving to meet the needs of our students, to meet them, where they are, and support them in the best way that we can. Excuse me. And what we always advise is to pick your preferred learning route. For example, there is a regular physical class that happens for 16 weekends. About 16 weekends is when the regular physical classes hold. This is you are there at our Victoria Island school, and there is a teacher in front of you, teaching you, explaining to you. You're interacting with him, asking him questions. And of course, this regular 16 weekend program also has an online version that runs on our learning management system, where people can attend classes from anywhere in the world, and you can still have access to recordings in case you need to refer to those materials or you miss those classes. And then there is the quick review classes. This happens a month before exams. So for the August exam, for example, in July, there will be a quick review program that happens for 4 or 5 weekends. All the weekends in the month of July, for example, we are going to have quick review. Right now, tomorrow, April, the only quick review program we are going to be running is for it's for level 1. Because just to prepare the level 1 students for their May exams, those who cannot, and so people who cannot make 16 weekends, but you can do 4 weekends. The quick review class is for you. And of course, the online classes, the regular ones are usually recorded. The quick review ones are usually recorded. It's also available for someone who says, I just want to go at my pace. I just want to be able to provide this at my pace. I'm not rushing. I will take my time. I can't guarantee my weekends because of work or because of family commitments or any other thing, but then I will take the recordings. And like we say, once a new frontier, always a new frontier. What that means is that even if what you have access to are the recorded classes, you would have access to faculty. One of the things, I interacted with one of the students recently in level 2 who wrote level 2 and had very limited time to prepare. And he told me that one of the things that helped him was that he was able to interact with faculty outside the 4 walls of the learning management system of the school. He could interact with them and buzz them up. At New Frontiers, you can pick up your phone and call your teachers and reach out to them for questions, for anything that has to do with helping you pass your exams. So whether you are on the regular program or the quick review program or the online program, we understand that our faculty is one of our biggest unique selling points, one of the biggest things that we have at New Frontiers. We don't joke with faculty, the quality of faculty that we have. And so we won't take that from you, whether you are accessing via recorded programs or it's a quick review program, a regular program, you will be able to access them for any difficult areas that you might be experiencing. So we hope that you will join us and you would make the most of this. This is our calendar. I'll concern myself with level 3. Level 3 for this year, because of the changes in the exam timetable, we are only able to take the April to July class. That's for folks who are writing August exam, and maybe there will be a February 2023 exam, right? But there will be an April to July class, and of course, a July quick review program. I'm sure you can see this. So there is an April to July class, and there is a quick review program that will happen in level 3. So please reach out to us if you are preparing for any exams this year. Classes are starting again tomorrow, like I said earlier on, and that's it. So let me take this review again. This is Folashade Ogunbayo. She said the mocks at New Frontiers Learning Center helped a lot. The feedback was always a good tool to judge my preparation level to each phase. If you need a prep center, New Frontiers Learning Center is the place. It's unbelievable how many intelligent people you have in one place. This is review from candidates who have attended, and the taste of the pudding is in the eating. There's just so much I can say here. If you are not in school, whether through the online program, through the recorded classes, through the quick review program, through the physical regular program, then you are missing a lot. Now, my call out to you today is that you will join us tomorrow. Classes start this weekend, tomorrow and on Sunday. Our classes start on Friday evening, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on our learning management system. You don't have to come to school on Friday evenings, as it were, so that you can get back home on time, and so that you are just at home, ready for the next day. Of course, on Saturday and on Sunday, our classes start at 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. in the evening, with multiple breaks, in between, allowing you to interact, allowing you to get refreshed and just get the most, out of the classes. And for this weekend, classes are still free. Classes are absolutely free. You could come to 20B Amodu Tijani off Sanusi Fafunwa, Victoria Island, Lagos, or you could join us on our learning management system. I'm sure our team will send out an email tonight to everyone that has registered to attend the classes. You will get the link to the class to join for free tomorrow and on Sunday, right? So please, classes are still free. Join the classes and reach out to us. If you need to talk to us, then you can pick any of these numbers to call, Obafemi or Isiaka, and you can visit us on newfrontierslearning.com, enroll today. And of course, please follow us on LinkedIn. There's a whole lot that we have going on. Beyond asking you to come to school, there's a lot of information that goes out in that place, and the community is growing gradually. There's a lot that you can benefit from there. So now it's time for me to take our questions, if there are any questions for our speakers tonight, and for everybody that for our speakers tonight. Any question from the audience, I'll be glad to take them right now. So please, it's time to take your questions, and if you have any questions for the school as well, I'll be glad to take them. So if you have any questions, let's see. Okay, are the classes this weekend physical only? No, as a matter of fact, the classes for this weekend will be virtual. Thank you for asking, AE. Yeah, so are the classes this weekend physical only? No. So as a matter of fact, the classes for this weekend are going to be happening at level 3 online. The physical classes will kick off next week for level 3. But again, everyone should dial in this weekend for our classes, and then yeah, of course, from there we can pick up the physical classes next week. So thank you. So thank you, AE. I'm sure you can join us tomorrow. I'm sure the team will send emails to everyone that has attended. We probably have your data, and we'll be able to share it. But if the team has the link now, I think you can drop it here for the free classes this weekend. So if you have it here, Obafemi, you can as well drop it here so people can pick it up once and for all. Otherwise, the emails will still work. Okay. So I'm just scrolling to be sure I didn't miss any question. Okay, so yeah, so Ola had asked about, can you guys, this is to our speakers, can you guys share approach to writing in the morning session? What are the expectations writing in bullet points? So I don't know. This is question, I think, around the essay questions.
Yeah. Okay. Clearly, we're going to spend more time in class, just going into the details of it, but just to briefly provide some broad guidance. The keywords, when we're going to talk, the questions come with keywords, and those keywords would typically drive how you should answer the question. So a question that says list, you should answer it differently from a question that says explain. So one thing you need to pay attention to is the keywords that are used. The second thing that it's also important to pay attention to, it's the is the marks or the minutes attached to a question. If the question has 10 minutes, if versus a question that has 2 minutes, or 2 marks versus 10 marks, how you answer it should be different. But we would discuss this in a lot more detail as part of the program. So I hope I've helped with answering that question.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. So Victoria, this one is for you. I promised to read it. So Anna is asking, hi Victoria, what courses did you trash out first? What course was the hardest for you?
Okay, sure. So in terms of trashing out first, like I said, I started with private wealth management because those were the first set of classes we had. And I actually made it relatable, right? So it didn't seem too complicated. And it was a good way to ease into it. So generally, my strategy is usually like I like to start with the thing that is the least scary so that it doesn't make me feel frantic from the get-go. So the more familiar territory, right? In level 1, I remember starting with economics because I had studied economics undergrad. I was like, this one, after spending 4 years, there's no way that this will be scary to me. Do you get? So that's what I had done. But like different people, different strategies. But it might be helpful to start with something that is not too complicated so that you don't already feel fear from the get-go. Something else that I know in terms of courses that are difficult, I mean, one strategy I learned in my level 2 was the fixed income and derivatives are 2 courses that almost every candidate sees as complicated, right? And I think it's also CFA strategy. They purposely make it a bit intense. So, and then I realized that if you sit down, understand, study those 2 courses very well, firstly, they're not as complicated. Secondly, in the exam, because CFA, and this is my theory, I don't know if it's fact, but I'll just tell you what my theory is. Because the courses are already so complicated, in the exam, if you've chewed the content quite well, you realize that, it's actually not, they don't complicate it too much because they know that to the basic candidates, the what is a bond is already complicated. So they don't try to go to derive one kind of formula. Do you see? But it will be in the curriculum, but they don't go too like super deep into it because they know even the basic first paragraph of the curriculum or the topic is complicated to an average candidate. Do you understand? So that was one thing I noticed, right? And so that now became my edge. So for my level 2, I sat with fixed income and derivatives. I made sure I read them both twice, right? And by the time I did those question thing, I saw that the pattern, I started to see the patterns, right? The topics that are frequently asked. So that way I honed on those topics as well. So when I said earlier that I went to fixed income and I was wondering whether this was what the kids asked us, it's because like I sat with that content so much that if you could wake me up, I would choose fixed income to you. You get using different, obviously Michael had taught us in class, which was very good. On top of it, I still use IFT. That was for level 2. For level 3, Michael taught us in class. On top of it, I use McMoldram. Do you see? So by the time you're learning from 2 perspectives, anything Michael didn't say well, McMoldram will say it. So anything Michael did not say well, Michael has said it. Do you understand? So you would certainly gauge it. And then by the time you read it twice, you're going through the content a second time. Some things are becoming more familiar to you. It's not as complicated again. So that's what I would suggest. Like, just make sure that you focus, because those courses that are complicated, as I said, I don't tend to see CFA overcomplicating the exam. It's the simple ones that they will go to, like private wealth, will not go to the deep parts, taxes, so that people, because they know everybody knows the beginning part, IPS, they know all those things, so it's not too complicated. They will not go to the deep parts. But for something like fixed income, because they know everyone is struggling with it already, they will just be asking, like, you'll not be wondering, why is it, do you get? So that's my advice and my suggestion. Hope that helps.
Thank you very much, Victoria, for that. While I'm still reading through the chats and expecting that you will drop in any question you have, this is to our audience. The link to tomorrow's class has been shared, so you don't need to wait to receive an email from us. Please, it's easier. Just grab the link from here now. You could copy and drop in your browser or just save it somewhere for your use tomorrow. Okay, thank you. Okay, Anna, a quick one. How many months from your level 2 before you wrote for level 3? Victoria, that's for you.
Sure. So I wrote level 2 in December 2020. That was COVID, yeah. December 2020. So the result came out around January, but I officially started reading in February, right? So so February to November was when I wrote my level 3 in November 2021. So that's like, let me give and take what's happening by math, 9 months, 9 to 10 months, roughly, to prepare for the exam. And then I did that because, like, I remember a couple of people that I wrote with in my study group, level 2, I mean, in my study group, wanted to write their level 3 in August, right? And this is another tip that might be useful. Like, ensure that you, like, take your time. Like, me, I'm all for write it and write it well. Not just write it to tick a box, write it and write it well. So if you need enough time to write it well, take that time, because it's not just about speed. Like, what I jokingly tell myself is that no one has a gun on your head to get this chapter. Even if you get it like 2 years after you level 2, it's still fine. Just make sure that when you're going for that exam, you're going for it fully prepared. But don't obviously take forever, because you don't want the momentum to die. So so when my friends then were writing in August, I mean, they knew they could pull it through in August because they knew like they would literally kill themselves to write it. But I knew that like work would get super intense around that February, March, April. So like I didn't want to risk it. So I just pushed my own out to November. And I seemed to be alone then, but later on I even found people that were also writing in November. We formed a new study group. So my point is, take your time, pace it out. I saw that this, when he was sharing the thing, I saw there's no November for level 3 this year, which is, it is sad, but just make sure that even if you put August as your target time, just know that it will entail a lot of work and time and effort and sacrifice. CFA is sacrifice. So just know that you will have to put in sacrifice, because it's not just about wanting to pass the exam. You need to put in a sacrifice. And just having that mentality that once I feel it, like, I'll just give it my all now so that I know I'm done. So that was always the mindset I had.
Thank you very much, Victoria. And I'm sure I hope you're satisfied with that. Do we have any other questions? Because right now I'm about to take the parting words from our speakers. But just one more time, I need to mention that the link to join tomorrow's classes for free has been dropped in the group. Thank you, New Frontiers Learning team, for dropping that for us. Obafemi, thanks so much. So please, grab the link, use it, share with friends. It's a free weekend, and please take advantage of it and make the most of it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. In the absence of any other question, because I'm sure I've read through. Just one more time. Yes, I've read through everything. I don't think there is any. If there's any, you could still type. But as it were, let me just in wrapping up tonight, let me just ask Victoria and Mr. Akule to just give us their parting words. I mean, just you're already on the other side. Something for your comrades, if there's anything like that, just a parting word from you. If you were to say something to a candidate in level 3. Right, what would it be? Victoria, let's have you first.
Sure. So it would certainly be, you can certainly do it. The CFA exam is not as, I'm careful to say what I want to say, but it's not as, I feel like a lot of negative rhetoric has gone out there about it, and how insurmountable it is, how you need to take it 10 times before you can pass. Just believing in yourself that you can do it, putting in the hard work, ensuring you make the sacrifices that are required to succeed. And indeed, the sky will just be your starting point, as they say.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Thank you very much for that. Mr. Akule?
Yeah, I just want to say that yes, I'm here, to help and support you along the way, and not just me. It's a whole team of people, it's a whole institution, ready to support you. Please feel free to reach out if you have any question. We're happy to support you, and you're going to do most of the work. We're just there to aid you along the way. Yes, I look forward to those 3 letters being behind your name.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, Victoria and Mr. Akule, for giving us of your time tonight, and our wonderful audience for joining in tonight. I'm sure this has been so helpful. It has been productive use of your evening. I'm sure you have the tips you need now to go smack that exam. I know you have what it takes. You can do it, and that's why we have. I mean, if it's about you, it's all about you. If we didn't think you could do it, then we wouldn't even be here having this conversation tonight. We came out first because we believed that you can do it, and this was meant for you for such a time as this, right? And like I've always, like we believe at New Frontiers, we strongly believe that there is no better time than now in the history of our world. There's no better time than now to be a charter holder. This is the best time in the history of the world to be a charter holder. With all that is going on globally, with the economy, in the midst of the challenges and the problems that exist, there are great and huge opportunities with all the new frontiers, not New Frontiers Learning Center now, with the new frontiers that have been broken, right, in Nigeria, in Africa, and particularly spotlight on Nigeria. This is great time for CFA charter holders. Thank you, Victoria. Great time, right? So we are looking forward to receiving you. We want to help you. That's the first thing. Please don't listen to the voice that saying they just want to collect my money. No, that's not the first thing. That's not why we exist. That's not the reason. It's if we're not doing this, we'll be doing something else. But trust me, the reason why we are doing this is first of all to help you. It's first of all to help you. Whatever situation you are in, people have called us, people have reached out and said, this is my circumstance, this is my situation. Of course, we'll do our own due diligence because again, every Tom, Dick, and Harry will now come and business cannot survive. I mean, I want to be sure that next year I can do this for you and help other charter holders. At the end of the day, I mean, right? We're even looking at the point where we have helped everybody, the people we have helped to come and help other people too. And let's all make the world a better place together, isn't it? So ultimately, please reach out. That's what I'm saying. Please reach out. Reach out if you need help. We will make something happen. There is something for you at New Frontiers. There is something for everyone. We hope that you will take advantage of this. We hope that you will keep spreading the word and telling somebody somewhere that, hey, there are some people out there that are willing to help you and will be able to do this. I see Victoria's hand raised. I'm sure she probably wants to say something.
Yeah. As you were just saying the thing about cost and the price, something came to my mind that I wanted to share just to help people.
Thank you.
I remember because obviously when I met my people in level 1, like people that had done classes I hadn't done, I was like, oh yeah, let's do classes. Then they told me the price of the class. I was like, is that only for the class? Like, is that plus the exam? So I was just like, the economist in me was about to come out. But then I remembered something someone had told me one time that like, don't let it ever be said that you didn't do everything doable, like everything within your power, everything you could humanly have done. Do you get? Even if, God forbid, something doesn't work out, but let it be that, oh, I know I did everything. Do you get? And someone also told me something one time, even this whole CFA thing. Her theory was that like, there's no way you would do every single thing you can ever do. Take classes, do questions, read the curriculum, go to watch McMoldrum. And like, she's yet to see somebody that has done every single thing and still failed. Her theory was like, whenever she sees someone that didn't pass, she just has to ask a few questions. Oh, did you do questions? Oh, how long did you do questions? Oh, did you read the curriculum? You'll find one thing that was left out of the many things. So don't take any tip as, more important than the other. Let it be that you've done every single thing you can humanly do, including classes, even if it's expensive, so that you only pay the price once and you don't have to ever pay it again.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Thank you very much, Victoria. Thank you very much, Victoria. That was helpful. And Mr. Akule, if this doesn't put you in a conflicting situation, you are free to say anything has come up. if anything has come up at the end as well, as a result of what Victoria said, I think you're a good team. We're a good tag team, as it were.
No.
I'll bring you both together for something else.
Okay. Just looking forward to hearing from everyone.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Mr. Okole. It's been a wonderful evening. Thank you, our audience. Like I always do, call everybody's name. Thank you one by one. It's not as if you're up to 1,000. The time is coming where you're 1,000 on the call. I'll still call everybody. I'll find a way to call everybody's name. As it were. Ehi, thank you for joining. Anna Abel, thank you. Chibuzo, Emma, Gift, Ginika, Kim, Thompson, Toby, thank you very much. I hope I didn't miss out anybody. And thank you, Obafemi and Mr. Isiaka. Wonderful people. Thank you so much for putting this together. I'm just here fronting for you anyway. Thank you so much, everyone. We look forward to receiving you in school on the learning management system. The link has been dropped. Please grab it. And if you need to reach out to us, the contacts are still on your screen. Please call, send an email, go to the website, follow us on LinkedIn. There will be a whole lot, right, with time that we have for you. Okay, thank you, Toby. Thank you, Chibuzo. Thank you, everyone. And please enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
New Frontiers Learning is the #1 tuition center for the CFA exams in Nigeria. Our founders went through their CFA journey with little or no support of any kind. However, they vowed to turn into reality the dream of every CFA candidate earning the CFA charter, irrespective of their backgrounds, finance and non-finance alike. It is this commitment to support our candidates that influences our engagement of a world-class faculty, partnerships, scholarship and discount offers, our online learning management system, and so much more. Our clients' outstanding results across all levels of the exams every year attest to the quality of our top-notch physical and online program in the last 10 years. That's right, we have been impacting the industry for 10 years and have supported about 2,500 professionals in that time space. Register with New Frontiers Learning today.